G'day ice cream lovers, my name's Steve Christensen, the Ice Cream Bloke and self-appointed headmaster at scoopschool.com. Now in our last video we went through the process of giving the best possible end product to your customer. And today we're still focused on the customer because we're going to talk about engagement. Now this is the process of helping you and your employees engage or react with your customer base. It's one of the most important things that you can learn in relation to the process of building and growing your business. So let's jump into it. Now, engagement is the second N, and it really does discuss or focus on how your employees engage with your customers. How you've trained them to be able to greet, to be able to serve them at the register, how to hand over product, how to interact with customers, as well as to farewell them when they walk out the door. These are principles that are almost essential because I think you'll agree that many of us have been to many restaurants where the food has just been absolutely perfect, but the customer service really sucked. And we would never go back to that place no matter how good the food was. But a lot of us have these haunts that maybe is a hole-in-the-wall type place where the food may be average, but the customer service is just so good and they treat us so well, almost like family, that we go back to again and again and again. So although the end product is important, it's just one of the key elements in the process of having a successful ice cream store. So engagement is so important. You know, this process, the cell phone, smartphone, social media process of the world is really destroying the interaction that many of the young people have today with each other and with customers alike. And so my theory is this is why aliens look the way they do, and this is the way that we are going to go if we don't turn things around. So these guys have large eyes to be able to watch small screens. Their mouths get smaller because we don't talk to each other anymore. We simply send texts or Facebook messages. We get long fingers here so we can hit those keys more often. And look, I don't want us to go this way. So what we need to do is be able to turn back the clock from this and go back to the process of teaching our employees how to engage with customers. And that's done by the AEIOU of customer service, which is a patented process here at scoopschool.com. You can use it for yourself. So the A is acknowledge. You've got to be able to acknowledge the customer when they walk in the door. Now sometimes that isn't always available, particularly when we're either scooping ice cream or mopping the floor or even serving another customer. But even if we acknowledge the customer with a wave or even just a raised eyebrow to say that we've acknowledged them coming in the door, we're serving someone else, it means a lot to someone when they've walked into a business and they're acknowledged, or their presence is acknowledged inside your business. So acknowledging the customer is absolutely number one when it comes to the A, E, I, O, and U of customer service. The second is engagement. Again, this process of talking to the customer, engaging with the customer. It means eye contact. It means being confident. It means the process of communication between the customer and the employee is of such a point where everyone feels comfortable. Now, the I of the AEIOU is the introduction. And this is difficult for a lot of youngsters who perhaps are working in your store that really don't talk to too many adults or strangers apart from family members and maybe school teachers at school. So the introduction is just so important. Now you'll find that in a lot of regional and national chains there is a script which most employees are required to say. Now it sounds a little caged and a little contrite, but really there are principles there that really are very important. So an introduction may be, "Hello, welcome to Mr. C's. My name's Steve. How can I serve you today?" Now, a couple of things happen in that introduction. One, we say our company name. Anytime we can get our company or business name in the mind of our customer, we almost subconsciously place a thumbprint in their mind so that every time they think about the word ice cream, they think of, let's say in my example, Mr. C's. "Good morning, my name's Steve. Welcome to Mr. C's. How can I help you today?" Those kind of very easy to remember introductions are very important. Now we've had guys in our customer service team where sometimes they've had a hard time stringing 2 or 3 words together. So we would literally write it on the back of the straw box. "Look mate, if you can't think of anything else to say, just read the back of the straw box." But this really isn't a lot to ask your employees to do. "Hi there, welcome to Mr. C's. My name's Steve. How can I help you today?" Very easy and very effective. Now, the O in the AEIOU is observing the customer. So once you've done your introduction, you'll find that the customer will start looking at your menu boards. Now, we're going to talk about menu board development and menu board design in another video. But suffice to say here is that if your menu board is well designed, sectioned out into different categories, and has a lot of photographs, it'll be a lot easier for your customers to be able to order from your menu board. But it's still very important for your employees to watch what's going on, because customers generally will only read a menu board for about 90 seconds. So you've got a minute and a half to capture the customer's attention to all of the different facets that you have on your menu board. If you've got a customer that's gone past that 30-second, 45-second looking at the menu boards, trying to decide what's going on, it's now time for your customer service officer or your employee to jump in and say, hey, can we help you out with anything? Can I make any suggestions? Do you need any explanations to the products that are on the board? This process of observation is so important, because once the introduction is done and the customer is searching for a menu product and your employee is just standing there, we're at a stalemate here. People like to be helped, but they don't like to be overbearingly helped, if that makes sense. And the last, but certainly not least, is the uniform in which your employee is wearing. Now, if you've been into one of my workshops, you'll know I'm very, very passionate about uniform. You don't need to spend a lot of money on a uniform, but it does need to be just that, uniform. It needs to be the same as everybody else. It needs to be clean. It needs to be pressed. The uniform also includes the way that your employee looks, so far as their hair, their hands, cleanliness of the general person. So all of these different processes come into play when talking about the engagement or engaging your customer. Acknowledgement, engagement, the introduction, observing the customer, and making sure that your employee has the correct and clean uniform on is very, very important when it comes to engagement. So there you have it, folks. These are some of the key principles, and relatively easy to remember, that you and your employees can learn. So feel free to test them every now and again on the AEIOU of customer service, and I'm sure that you will be able to give your customers a much more beneficial and rich experience at your store. Now, that's all we have time for this video. The next video, we're going to talk about the environment in which you are providing this end product and the engagement. And they are principles not to be missed. So until then, keep on scooping, folks. We'll see you next time.